If negative behaviors are affecting your classroom, I have the solutions for you. Stay tuned. Our team has compiled a list of 5 strategies to help you tackle those negative behaviors like blurting, not doing partner work, tattling, loud independent work time. You get the idea. So let's start with strategy 1, positive reinforcement. Reinforcing the positive truly goes a long way. By praising the positive, you're bound to get more in your classroom. So just what are the ways to praise the positive? Here are my ideas. I love to give brag tags in my classroom, and these are just reminders that students get when they're caught being good. I also like to give them for holidays and birthdays and special days throughout the year. They have become a very fun tradition in our classroom. You can give them and let students wear them on a necklace. You can glue them into a brag tag book. But a really good way to use brag tags to motivate the positive behavior is to print out a large brag tag of the behavior you're trying to reinforce in your classroom. I love to hang it somewhere in my classroom, and then during the week, I remind them, remember, we're working on being kind to others this week, and they will work towards that. It's just a great reminder, and brag tags are a foolproof positive reinforcement. Another tool I like to use is just simply public praise.
You enjoyed this. Wow!
So if we're up at the rug and I see Sally sitting just perfect, I'm going to say, oh my goodness, look at how nicely Sally is sitting crisscross applesauce. Her eyes are on me and she has been listening the whole time. Thank you so much, Sally. The other kids around here are instantly perking up and sitting up because we all love praise. If you want to praise a changed behavior, what I like to do is when a negative behavior really affects my classroom, I'm going to do a stop and think sheet. This forces students to stop and think about what they did that was outside of the expected behaviors in the classroom, what they could do differently in the situation next time. Now I keep these stop and think sheets in my desk. I like to remind myself of what behaviors I've been working on with students, and when they then show the correct behavior in a similar situation, I am going to praise, praise, praise. We could go on and on with rewards. There's lots of different types of rewards for positive behavior. They can be class-wide, student group-wide, or just individual. My favorite have been punch cards, because once a student fills out a punch card, they can choose a reward. And I have a list of rewards. We've done lunch in the classroom with me and they choose a friend. Board game time, extra free time. You need to do what works best for your class. I also just had a pocket chart full of stickers and they could pick one of those. Another thing I love about punch cards is it puts the responsibility on the student. So I had my students keep their punch cards in their pencil boxes or in another cubby area of their desk. And when I said, I'm gonna go around the classroom and everyone gets a hole punch for that behavior, or you've earned a hole punch for great behavior, they have to know where it is. And if they've lost it, sadly, they have to start over. Moving on to strategy 2. And this is one you have to start from the beginning of the year. Have clear expectations and consistency. The way to set your expectations of your classroom rules and accepted behaviors is to model from day 1. In fact, the first few weeks of school, the majority of what we're doing is setting our expectations in our classroom and modeling those. Once we have learned what our classroom rules or expectations are, I have my students do a rules chant, just like I talked about in the previous video. But anytime I start seeing negative behavior showing up in my classroom, we're going to stop the whole group instruction that we're doing. I'm not calling out the student that was demonstrating the behavior. I am just stopping the whole class and we're going to quickly go through our rules chant and an instant correction happens. I also like to keep my rules posted around the classroom. Strategy 3, we're going to teach some social emotional skills. Kids come to school with all sorts of backgrounds and life experiences, and sometimes we need to just tap into our emotions and use it as a positive way to reinforce expected behaviors. And sometimes it's valuable to teach students what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes. So using social emotional lessons, we can tap into the different feelings. I love to focus on empathy and especially self-regulation. So focusing on self-regulation can really tamper down those negative behaviors because the students are going to be more aware that they can do things to regulate their body to sit still. They can do things to take a deep breath and think before they act. One way I've incorporated SEL skills in my classroom throughout the year is taking one word and focusing on that for a whole month of the school year. This allowed us to really dig deep into what that word is. For example, empathy, and we would do little videos on it. We would read alouds about empathy, have lessons, and do several different resources throughout that month, and then move on to a new word the next month. Just one way to incorporate some social emotional learning. Strategy 4 is to create a calm down corner. I know this is not doable for everyone and their classroom space, but if it is possible, it is a great place for students to go and reset. Now, this is not for major behaviors. They can draw or play with a fidget, whatever it is that just takes their emotions from a 10 back down to where we need to be. It can be a very small space in your classroom. It can be a chair just sitting in a tiny corner. It could be a towel on the floor with a basket of fidgets. There's a lot of different ways to set up a calm down area in your classroom. And remember, it doesn't always have to be the biggest and the best. Strategy 5, and our biggest and most successful strategy in tackling negative classroom behavior, is to build relationships. And this really has to start from day one, or even if possible, before day one. Let's get into that. Like I said, this is the most important and effective strategy in calming negative behaviors in your classroom. And I always sent a letter to students before school started, just establishing that I am very excited to meet them and this is going to be a warm and welcoming school year. Once school started, I really worked hard to get to know the interests and the lives of my students in my classroom, showing interest in things that they love. This really helps them understand you do care about them. You're not just up here lecturing away at them day in and day out. The way to get them to open up about their interests is sharing some of your own. So I would often start the school year talking about a hiking trip I did, or showing a rock collection that I had, or talk about your pets. That is an amazing way to open up lines of communication in your classroom. By opening up these lines of communication, students are more likely to come to you when they have a struggle rather than let it fester and become a class-altering event. I casually try to meet with each student daily if possible. So as they're entering the classroom in the morning, I am there and present at the doorway. Good morning, Samuel. How was your baby brother last night? Did he sleep through the night? Or, hey, Lucy, how did your dance class go yesterday? Meeting with them that quick few seconds sets the tone for a great day in the classroom. Another bonus tip for tapping into student interests and getting to know those things is you can incorporate that into your small group or individual instruction. So when I was doing reading passages, for example, with students, I would find one based on what they're interested in, print that out and use that. It was a great way to get them to buy into their academics. Quick while I have you here, if you're interested in any of the rules, posters, or things shown in this video, you can actually try all of them for $1. Click on the dollar symbol at the end of this video or the link in the description, and you can try out our all access teacher membership, which has over 20,000 resources for $1 for 1 week, up to 100 downloads. Try a mix of these strategies and please let us know in the comments what works best to tackle those negative behaviors in your classroom. I'll be back next week sharing a list of teacher tried and loved strategies for improving your classroom management. See you then.